Good morning, good evening, good afternoon to everyone here on the Emergency Management Associates Network. Thank you for joining us. We're coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. I want to welcome everybody here to our program tonight. As we've been doing in the past, we're going to skip doing this tonight because I've got a lot of information to give you over a very short time period, and I'm going to get right into it right here and right now. First, guys, I'm going to talk about a subject that we started talking about last night. A 21-year-old man in Massachusetts was arrested this morning by the FBI. A National Guardsman named Jack Teixeira, Teixeira. He was arrested last night, early this morning in Massachusetts for allegedly leaking classified national defense information. FBI agents arrested him at his home, North Dighton, Massachusetts, this morning in connection with the trove of classified documents that had been leaked online in recent months. Over months. When the news media first came out with this a few days ago, they said it was just a leak of classified documents and that it had gotten literally around the world to our enemies and to our allies. Folks, it took months that he did this. Attorney General Merrick Garland said today that Mr. Teixeira, 21, is being investigated for the alleged unauthorized removal, retention, and transmission of classified national defense information. Teixeira, who joined the Air National Guard in September 2019, held the highest level security clearance granted by the federal government for top secret information. This is according to an internal Department of Defense memo. His security clearance and his access to classified government systems has now been revoked. This is according to another internal government document. Attorney General Merrick Garland said that he's been investigated for the alleged unauthorized removal, retention, and transmission of the classified national defense information. Teixeira, who joined the Air National Guard in 2019, held the top security clearance granted by the government. He was most recently stationed at Otis Air National Guard Base as a member of the 102nd Intelligence Wing. He was promoted to Airman First Class this past July. The FBI began surveilling Teixeira in connection with leaks before Thursday, but they were forced to accelerate their plans to arrest him after the New York Times identified him yesterday evening. That New York Times report named Teixeira as the leader of a Discord group called Thug Shaker Central. That consisted of roughly 20 to 30 young men. Teixeira allegedly started sharing classified documents with the private group in recent months, but the leaks gained wider attention after another member shared them in a public forum, according to the report. Investigators don't believe that the case ends with Teixeira, and they're looking at others that may be involved as well. FBI agents searched his Massachusetts home in connection with the classified document leaks video. The National Guard said in a statement today that it is aware of the alleged role of the Massachusetts Air National Guardsman and the role that he played in the recent leak of highly classified documents. The Pentagon document leak has immediate impact on national security. According to someone who said, quote, "It sucks up a lot of oxygen." In other words, a lot of people are talking. The National Guard takes this issue very seriously and will support all investigations. The Guard said in a statement as this: "National security is our foremost priority, and any attempt to undermine it compromises our values and degrades trust among our members, the public, allies, and our partners." Pentagon Press Secretary Brigadier General Pat Ryder called the leaks a deliberate criminal act, saying that distribution lists for classified information are being reviewed. Now, I want to specifically advise everybody what it takes to access that kind of information. I once had access to that. No, I did not get into deep defense information. However, I had classified and top secret clearance. Okay? A leaker of a classified U.S. intelligence person works on the military base, and he posted documents on Discord. Okay? According to Ryder, who is in charge of the press conferences for the DoD, said, "We entrust our members with a lot of responsibility at a very young age. You've received training and you will receive understanding of the rules and the requirements that come along with those responsibilities. And you're expected to abide by those rules, the regulations, and the responsibility. It's called military discipline. And in certain cases, especially when it comes to sensitive information, it is also about the law." Deputy Press Secretary of Defense Kathleen Hicks warned Pentagon employees against sharing classified information in a memo on Tuesday this week. Deputy Secretary of Defense Kathleen Hicks warned the employees. The warning was, employees were warned against leaking classified information or downloading classified documents or from unclassified sources. Now, the following is what I'm going to tell you is what I went through training prior to my being granted access to documentation, and prior to my gaining access to top security clearances. Quote, "Do not access or download documents with classified markings from unclassified websites, either from home or work. As the data may be classified, it may be associated with hostile foreign elements, or it may be containing malicious code or embedded capability that could introduce cyber threats into our information systems. Leaked Pentagon documents paint a very grim picture of Ukrainian air defense supplies and may only last a month." Okay? A large police presence could be seen on Thursday today outside Tazera's quiet neighborhood in North Dighton, Massachusetts. North Dighton is a small town about 35 miles south of Boston. Now, President Biden said earlier today that the U.S. was getting close to finding the person responsible for leaking Pentagon documents that the DoD has described as containing sensitive and highly classified material. He said, "I can't right now. He was asked, I saw the interview of him by reporters over in Ireland last night. He was asked by reporters to give them some idea of what's going on. He said, "I can't right now. There's a full-blown investigation ongoing with the intelligence community and the Department of Justice, and they're getting close." Biden told reporters during his trip to Ireland, "I don't have an answer for you." The president also said, "I'm concerned that it happened, but there is nothing contemporaneous that I'm aware of that is of great consequence." He basically lied. The leaked documents mainly concern Russia's invasion of Ukraine, and this is just what I'm told. This is only what I'm told. The documents mainly concern Russia's invasion of Ukraine, but also include intelligence on China, the Middle East, and Israel's spy agency Mossad, and world leaders. U.S. defense officials previously said that this leak could be bigger than Snowden in terms of damage to intelligence and our relationships with our allies. Teixeira is expected to make his first court appearance sometime tomorrow, Friday, between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. That's according to the U.S. Attorney's Office. And it's according to the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Massachusetts. Okay? So that's a lowdown on what happened with the military documents and the classified and secret information that had been leaked. Okay? Now, I want to talk to you about weather. Okay? First, over in Fort Lauderdale, they got over a foot of rain in 24 hours. Over 12 inches of rain in 24 hours. That's huge. That's huge. I want you to see this. I'm sorry. You're kidding me. Okay, hold on a second. There was one other picture that I wanted to show you right here. Sorry about that, guys. Let me enlarge it here. That's my bad. Okay? I don't know how that happened. Anyway, look at this, guys. This is at the Fort Lauderdale airport. The pylons are basically buried in water. You know as well as I do that those pylons are about 26 to 27 inches high. Okay? They're basically buried in water. That's how much water that they got within 24 hours. It was huge. Okay? It was huge. Now, with that, I want to talk about weather for this weekend. This weekend starts tomorrow. I want to first start out talking about where I'm at. Then I will talk about the rest of the nation. Okay? We are going to be under a severe weather watch starting late tonight, going into tomorrow. We're expecting heavy rain between tomorrow and Sunday night. That's what's going to happen over here on the East Coast. All these storms are coming from the west. Okay? They're coming from the west. You guys have seen the storms. You guys have seen the tornadoes in Texas. You've seen them in Oklahoma. You've seen them in Kansas. You've seen them in Ohio, over in Indiana and such. Weather's been bad. But you've also seen areas of dry weather. Very high winds and dry weather. Low humidity. And doing that, folks, that is an area that is just ripe for fire. High winds and low humidity. Okay? That's what we expect in some areas of the Midwest going through the Northeast this weekend. Okay? High winds and low humidity. Red flag rescue alert for northeastern states. Don't start any fires or throw your stinking cigarette butts out of the vehicles or anywhere else outside while they're still lit. Do not do that. Now, I And I say stinking butts because I don't smoke. And to me, I'm allergic to it. I start coughing and my lungs fill up with smoke and I can't breathe. I still think it's stinking butts. I don't like the smell of smoke. Anyway, please, if you're going to put out your cigarettes, do so in a safe manner. Do not throw them out of a vehicle. Don't just drop them on the ground and step on them. You may still have red hot coals from the tobacco, and they can be blown around in the wind and start forest fires or wildland fires. Please help your neighbors, help me, and help the firefighters and the law enforcement that has to deal with it. Don't risk your lives or anyone else's. Please, don't risk your lives or your homes as a result of fires. I've been on reporting on this kind of stuff for 4 years now. I reported on homes being destroyed all over this country because of wildland fires. Please be careful this weekend. We're going to have high winds and low humidity through the Midwest going up into the Atlantic Northeast. And we may see some of that early on tomorrow here. But after that, it's going to get very wet here. Okay? You people up in the Northeast are also going to see wet. Okay? That's just the way it is. Over in Utah, like I said last night, last week, you guys in Utah and Idaho saw freezing temperatures. Yesterday, 83 degrees. I understand it's nearly that hot today. Take care of yourselves. Take care of yourselves. Also, there is flooding going on in Idaho and Utah because of the heavy snowmelt. Be careful. Do not, I repeat, do not try to drive through rain-swollen roads and streets. Don't do it. You don't know whether the pavement has been undermined by the passing water. You don't know if there's sinkholes. You don't know if the roads have been destroyed. Don't do it. Also, do not walk into water-covered streets. I've seen people get swept away. Don't do it. Please, pass this information on far and wide. This needs to go everywhere. People disregard what I'm saying all the time, and people die. But friends and neighbors and loved ones here, I'm begging you, please don't become a victim of rain-swollen roads and streets. Don't also jump out into the harbor or any other place when there's a boat craft advisory not to go out in boats. Okay? Don't do it. Stay ashore. Stay in your homes and play cards. Have a party. But please don't go out in those streams. Don't go out into the ocean. I've had to rescue people. Don't do it. Don't put my life or anybody else's on the line trying to rescue you. Just don't do it. All right? Now, there's something else that happened last night, early this morning. Okay? I'm going to talk about a tremor. Okay? This is what the news reported this morning here locally. Earthquake reported. It was a 1.78. It was a 1.78 tremor. People do not feel tremors, regardless of what the reporters say in the newsroom. This was a 1.78 tremor. It was far enough away from me to not even be close to me. This was further south and west of me, okay, in a place called Old Fort. Old Fort. Okay, you can see it's along the Interstate 40, the same interstate that I have. It's a 2-lane highway going in north and south directions. Okay? But Old Fort, North Carolina is where this 1.78 tremor happened. Okay? It was nothing more than that. News organizations were telling the public, if you felt this report, call us and let us know you felt it and how strong it was. Again, if I have a news media monitoring this channel tonight, please, folks, please understand, 1.78 tremors are not being felt. 1.0 to 1.9 tremors are just that, tremors. You can't be felt. You can't feel those at all. 2.0 to 2.9 are considered to be minor earthquakes. You're not going to feel those either. 3.0 to 3.9. Those are considered to be small earthquakes. But you may not feel a small quake until it gets to be at least a 3.5. Then you're going to feel it. It's going to be light shaking under your feet. You may hear your plates and dishes and glassware jiggle around. And if you don't have secure cabinets, you may have these glasses fall on the floor and break. A 3.5 magnitude tremor or 3.5 magnitude earthquake, small earthquake, may rattle your knickknacks. It may even knock a book or two down, but that's all it's going to do. If you have a 4.0 to a 4.9, that is called a moderate earthquake. Those moderate earthquakes can knock over knickknacks, knock books off of shelves, they can knock pictures and plaques off of walls. It might even shake a TV that's sitting on a table and knock it off and break it on the floor. You want to make sure all of your appliances, no matter how heavy they are, make sure all of your appliances, these big screen TVs, the refrigerators and such, they should be mounted to the wall. You can get mounting brackets, flexible aluminum brackets to attach to your walls and attach the other end to the refrigerators and other heavy appliances in your home. Don't take the chance on having an earthquake hurt you. But this 1.78 magnitude tremor here in North Carolina didn't do anything. As we have said before about tremors here on the United States East Coast and up in Canada on the East Coast, those are caused, any and all tremors or earthquakes are caused by the Atlantic plate. The Atlantic plate, underneath the Atlantic Ocean, is solid crust under the ocean. That crust is expanding, and in its expansion it is pushing, the Atlantic plate is pushing on the North American plate, the North American continent. It's pushing the North American continent in a south-southwesterly direction. That's what causes earthquakes over here on this east side of the United States and Canada. That's why we get earthquakes here, and they're getting more frequent, as I've said in past programs. More and more frequent. That's what caused this tremor today. Okay? We're going to be talking about earthquakes tonight. Plenty about earthquakes tonight. I want everybody to know what happens and what you can expect. Okay? This earthquake in North Carolina, again, it was a 1.78 magnitude tremor. It was 7.7 miles north of Old Fort in McDowell County here in North Carolina. It happened yesterday evening at 8:35 p.m. at a depth of 5 kilometers. 5 kilometers. That's approximately 2 miles deep. Okay? The USGS said that the earthquake was 23.1 miles east-northeast of Asheville. Asheville. Okay? Asheville, I need to tell you, is up 40, Interstate 40, which goes east. Or excuse me, I'm sorry, not east, it goes west. And it goes west up to Asheville. Okay? Asheville is about 75 miles southwest of where I live. If you don't turn towards Asheville, you go down towards Old Fort and McDowell County, that is probably another, I would say, even 2 hours for me. That's how far it is. Now, they say it's 27 miles west of Morganton. No, it's not. It's a lot further than that. 27 miles west of me is another town. It's not Old Fort. Okay? It's unreal how they either inflate the numbers or not honest about it. There was nowhere near me. Okay, I want to say that. That earthquake here in North Carolina was nowhere near me. Alright? Let's go and talk about some of the earthquakes we talked about last night. Okay? Actually, let's not do that just quite yet. Sorry about that. That's my bad. Okay, I want to talk first about this earthquake that happened this morning. About 11, well, it says it happened at 9:54 a.m. on the west coast. It was a 6.2 to 6.4 earthquake. It first came out as a 6.2. USGS, in their infinite wisdom, downgraded to a 6.4. I believe it was downgraded to a 6.0. I'm sorry. The agency downgraded to 6.0. I think it was a 6.4. And I've analyzed a lot of data. Okay? I've analyzed quite a bit of data that I want to share with you tonight. Okay? First off, I'm sorry, that's not it right there. Where in the heck did I go with that? Just a second, folks. I'll get it for you. I can't believe that. Let me get this information for you. I'm sorry. Right here. There we go. This is Helioplot. Okay? Folks, I downloaded this a lot earlier today. Just about 3 hours ago. Okay? I wanted to show you what this says. That's why I pulled it up. Okay? This is the earthquake off the northwest shore of Vancouver Island today. Okay? This Helioplot I downloaded from Haley, Idaho. This seismograph was located in Haley, Idaho. Okay? This is what they saw in Haley, Idaho. Okay? Look at what it shows here. 2 good-sized earthquakes. Okay, I believe that's a 6.4, not a 6.2. And there were other earthquakes associated with this. Okay, USGS shows one 6.0 magnitude earthquake on the USGS map. I believe it was a 6.4. And you can see the related earthquakes here. These are aftershocks of that 6.4 magnitude earthquake. You can see that here. And off to the right of that, you can see smaller earthquakes, like 3.5, 4.0, and other tremors associated with that earthquake. Okay, you can see those tremors, those earthquakes and tremors going out to the right side of this earthquake. Then you can proceed down the horizontal line here. Proceeding down the horizontal line, that, folks, is called the body wave. The body wave. And that body wave continued out for at least 6 hours that I know of. At least 6 hours that I know of. And it may continue out longer, and I will check that later on tonight. But I wanted to show you this because this is very typical of what I have found. Okay? For instance, this one comes from Oregon. From Oregon. And I'm sorry, I don't know why it got so freaking big. But I will take care of that. Hold on a second. I have no idea why that got so tall and long. But here you see it again. Like I said, this one comes from Baker, Oregon. Okay? On this particular one, this is even closer to the earthquake. The earthquake was over in northwest of Vancouver Island. This is Oregon. You can see explicitly that we have at least 6 earthquakes. 4 6.4 magnitude earthquakes. There's one line before the thicker line, then we have a thicker line, which means the ground shook more intensely for a very short amount of time, probably 5 seconds. Then there were 2 more shake events. It was not a 6.0. This was at least a 6.4. And you can also see further shaking going on. Those are aftershocks. Aftershocks. You can see the secondary wave come down in the form of a V, a sideways V. Then, like I said, you can also see the body wave continuing out for at least 3 hours. Now it's been 6 hours. Okay, let me show you another one here. This seismograph, or this helioplot, comes from Missoula, Montana. It's even further away than the one over in Oregon. Okay, it's even further away than the one in Idaho. That one in Montana shows us 3 waves, 3 different seismic waves, 6.0 plus. Okay, this was not a 6.0 earthquake. You can see there was also shaking, foreshocks. See that foreshocks over on the left-hand side? There were foreshocks as well, and USGS is not showing those. They're not showing any aftershocks either. So they're lying to us. They're out and out lying to us. You can see again the secondary wave and the body wave on this helioplot. Okay? So I hope I've given you a little bit education of what we're seeing here. Now I want to take another minute and go up to Mount Baker. Up to Mount Baker at the just south of the border of Canada. This is the US side of the border. Okay? We often show this frequently on our programs. There isn't much to show you in the way of seismograms at Mount Baker except for this one, because all of them have been messed with. Every one of them have been messed with. You can see on this seismogram here that there is a wavy line here. This seismogram starts at 1700 hours yesterday, which is 5 p.m. yesterday. You can see at the top of this seismogram there's very light waves. Okay? The waves in these lines are due to magma entering the volcano, Mount Baker. Mount Baker. Last night, or last evening at 5 p.m., there wasn't much magma coming into the volcano, so the waves are very light. Okay? But look what happens during the rest of the evening and into today. Okay? Into today. I want to enlarge this to show you when the waves started getting larger. Okay? You can see 2200 hours here on the left-hand side. That's 10 p.m. last night. After 10 p.m. comes 2300, 11 p.m. 11 p.m., the waves started getting larger. These waves are very low frequency waves. The very low frequency waves are generated when magma is entering the volcano. When magma is coming into the volcanic chamber, the magma chamber. Okay? So 11 o'clock last night is when more and more magma started entering the magma chamber. And you can see what happens after that. Okay? Let me show you midnight last night. Midnight last night is 00 hours over on the left-hand side. 00 hours. 2400 hours last night. That's midnight. You can see these VLF waves increasing. They increased all the way down here to early this morning. Early this morning. Look what happened here early this morning. Remember the earthquake off of Vancouver Island? That's what it's showing here. It's showing the earthquake at Vancouver Island. You can see the seismic waves generated by that earthquake. Completely separate and distinct from the VLF waves. You can also see some vertical lines here. Those are also earthquakes that happened at Mount Baker. That longest line there, that's at least a 3.4, 3.5 earthquake at Mount Baker, prior to the earthquake at or off of Vancouver Island this morning. Now I want to tell you this. All the seismograms that I'm going to show you today should have and should show this very earthquake, this Vancouver earthquake today, the 6.4 earthquake. If it doesn't show the earthquake, then guess what? It's wrong. It means that the agency scrubbed. They scrubbed the information from the seismogram. So everybody needs to realize that, because the agencies do that, and they do it a lot. If the seismogram does not show the earthquake, it might as well not be a seismogram, because they're lying about it. If they're lying about that earthquake, they're lying about everything. So let's go through here and take a look at the seismograms. Okay? Now, I showed you Mount Baker just now. Let's go south to Glacier Peak. This is the Glacier Peak seismogram. Glacier Peak is another volcano. It's about 40 miles north of Seattle. About 40 miles north of Seattle. Let's take a look at this. You see all these little vertical lines here? Some of those are tremors. Some of those are tremors. If they're not tremors, there's no dot in the middle of them. If there's a vertical line with a dot, that's either a tremor or an earthquake. A vertical dot. Okay? Now, before the earthquake hit Vancouver Island, before the earthquake hit Vancouver Island, what happened? What do you think happened? Look at where this earthquake hit. This is not the Vancouver earthquake on the blue line here. That blue line on the left is 8:30 a.m. this morning. The earthquake on west of Vancouver Island happened after 9:30 a.m. Pacific time. This earthquake here is at least a 3.0. A 3.0. There's no foreshock to this quake. There are aftershocks, and there is a body wave, and you can see it. And that body wave went out until we had another smaller event. It was a tremor, about a 1.4, 1.5 tremor. And then we had another secondary wave and a body wave after that. That earthquake and those body waves are completely different than the 6.4 magnitude earthquake that I've showed you. Okay? Now, look at 9 o'clock today. It's over on the left-hand side. You can see it. This seismogram came from the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network. The previous one I showed you up at Mount Baker also came from PNSN. It showed the earthquake at Vancouver Island, didn't it? This one doesn't. This seismogram does not show the earthquake at 9:30. It doesn't show it at all. On this red line here, this, folks, is 10:15. This is 10:15. Okay? That's not an earthquake. This is a magma churn signal. Superheated magma causes magma churn signals. The lines out to the right, those are steam signatures, showing the volcano steaming. The magma churn signals are typically 23 to 24 lines high. This magma churn signal is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 lines high. This is about 40% of real world. That means the seismograph that recorded this was turned down 60% of real world. Turned down to 60%. So all this seismogram can show you is 40% of real world. So we're not seeing everything, and we're not seeing the 9:30 earthquake from this morning. We're seeing an earthquake after 8:30, and it's closer to 6:47 a.m. this morning, but it's not showing the 6.4 or even the 6.2 that it came out as. It doesn't show it, does it? I show you that previous seismogram so you could see what it would look like. Okay? This is not real. When you attempt to conceal evidence, you're tempting lies. Okay? And yet, this same agency has told me and other people throughout the years, oh, we don't lie, we don't conceal evidence, we don't destroy evidence, we don't hide seismograms from you people, we are completely clean, we do this right. Really? They're not doing much good here so far. Okay? Let's go down quickly over to Mount Rainier. I love Mount Rainier. It's such a beautiful mountain. So much to show here. This seismogram came from the U.S. Geological Survey. The U.S. Geological Survey. Okay? This is showing you observer. The observer seismograph sits on the northwest side of Mount Rainier. On this seismogram, you can see all kinds of tremors, and you can see some earthquakes, can't you? Absolutely you can, and you should. Okay? Up at the top of this seismogram, you can see that this particular seismogram starts at 3 p.m. yesterday. The top line is 3 p.m. After that, you see tremors. All kinds of tremors for hours. You can see the change of the date down here on the left-hand side. It says 4/13, April 13th. That's midnight. You can see all the tremors that happened before that. There's like 40 or 50 tremors here before midnight. After midnight, what happens? Okay, look at this. Just after 5:30 a.m. this morning, we have this 2.0 earthquake, supposedly a 2.0 earthquake. Okay? Supposedly a 2.0 earthquake. Then, just after 6:30, and this is at about 6:40 a.m. this morning, we have another earthquake, and yet the top and the bottom of this seismic event has been cut off. The top and bottom of this seismic signature has been cut off. How long did the earthquake last? Over a minute. The width shows you that this earthquake lasted at least a minute, maybe a hair longer than that. Okay? We don't know how strong this earthquake really was, but we do know the length of time that the earthquake hit. The time the seismic energy was moving. We know that. So this earthquake was at least 60 seconds long. This was much larger earthquake than a 2.2 earthquake that they would have us believe. The height of the earthquake, the height of the seismic event here, would say about 2.0, 2.2 on the Richter scale. Well, guess what, folks? They cut off the top and they cut off the bottom, but they show us the width of time that the earthquake happened. There's no way in heck that a 2.0 magnitude earthquake would show this. Okay? It's a much larger earthquake than that. Then we come down here to 9 a.m. Okay? 9 a.m. we see a seismic signal here. We see a seismic signal. Okay? Very light tremors going on. And those light tremors go down for about 7 minutes. And then they dissipate. They go all the way down here to the right. Totally dissipate, nothing going on. And then we have an earthquake. We have an earthquake here. Now, why am I showing you this? I want to show you what the 6.2 magnitude earthquake looks like here. They doctored it again. There's no way a 6.2 magnitude earthquake would look like this. They cut off the top and the bottom of this again. Look at the length of time of shaking. Look at the length of time of the major shaking of this quake. This is over 2 minutes of shaking. At the end of the most shaking that they had, about a minute and a half after it started, it starts to dissipate, but even then, the seismic waves are cut off by this seismograph, by the scientists that are tending to this earthquake. Again, why are they doing it? Why are they doing this? This is Mount Rainier. It's a volcano. Why are they concealing evidence of the earthquake over in Canada? Why? Why? What are they to gain from doing this? Nothing. Okay? This is very typical of what we've been seeing over the years. They downgrade the quakes and then deny it. This is perfect. This is perfect evidence of what they're doing. This is perfect evidence of what they're doing. Okay? And if this evidence is such that it's destroyed, which it is, guess what? The entire seismogram should be thrown out. Because there's no way in heck that it's correct. Now, on the 930 line, you can still see evidence of shaking here. There's a body wave that continues on this seismogram. And this body wave continues for about a half hour, 40 minutes on this particular seismogram. But the helioplots show it continuing for at least 3 hours that I have on that helioplot. I'm going back and checking it, and I'll let you know more in the morning. Folks, this is Mount Rainier. Mount Rainier is a volcano that's getting ready to erupt. We can see the earthquakes and tremors that are hitting here. We're also seeing other vertical lines here that are not related to earthquakes or tremors. Those vertical lines are steam. We know for a fact that Mount Rainier is steaming. There's no doubt in our minds what is going on at this volcano. No doubt whatsoever. Now I can continue to show you seismograms all over Mount Rainier. For example, this is Mount Rainier, this is Camp Muir. Camp Muir is on the south side of Mount Rainier. And this is near the top of Mount Rainier as well. You can see the earthquakes when they're happening again. Okay? This particular seismograph started recording at 2200 hours, which is 10 p.m. last night. And again, you can see the tremors and earthquakes that were recorded last night. This one on the top right, that is at least a 2.2, 2.3 magnitude earthquake, minor earthquake. Then there were some other similar earthquakes after that. There's also a lot of tremors, as you can see. Any vertical lines that do not have a dot in the middle of them, those are steam signatures. Because this seismogram has been turned down so far, it's not going to show you full-blown steam signatures with curlicues on part of the steam signature. It's just going to show you a small vertical line. Okay, but you can see what I'm showing you here. Okay, look at this. Look at this. Have you seen 9 or 9:30 a.m. come up today? Not at all. Look at that. It's not here. It's not here. You can see midnight up near the top of this, about an inch down from the top. That's midnight last night. Nowhere on this seismogram shows the Vancouver earthquake. It's not there. If it's not there, ladies and gentlemen, this seismogram has been washed. It's been washed. If it's not there, how can we trust these other earthquakes that hit on Mount Rainier? Look at this one this evening, this afternoon I should say. Look at that one. Can we trust that they're giving us correct information? No, not at all. Not at all. And that's USGS. So now we have two agencies we can't trust, can we? Interesting, huh? Interesting. Let's jump down to Mount St. Helens. Another beautiful volcano. Another doggone beautiful volcano. South of Mount Rainier. Let's enlarge this so you can properly see it, so I can show you everything going on here. Okay, this particular seismograph started recording information at 2200 hours last night. That is 10 p.m. last night. You can see these steam signatures, the vertical lines with no dot in the middle of them, little tiny vertical lines. You can see vertical lines with dots in the middle of them. Those are small tremors here. And wait, oh wait, we have another magma churn signal, don't we? Over here on the center right. Let's take a look at that magma churn signal. How many lines is it? How many lines is it tall? Magma churn signals are typically 23 to 24 lines high. This one is 1, 2, 3. I'm sorry, hold on a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines high. Folks, it's not even 25%. This seismogram is not even 25% of real world. It's like 24 3/4%. Okay? It's less than 25%. What does that tell you? They've altered the seismogram again, haven't they? They're not showing us everything. And look at this seismic event here, early this morning. Okay? Last night at 2200, this seismogram was started here. It comes down to midnight. You can see where midnight is here on the left-hand side. Then we come down 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, rock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. Guess what? Just after 3:45 this morning, and actually it probably started at 3:15 this morning. We had a lot of magma coming in, didn't we? A lot of magma came in for over an hour here at Mount St. Helens. And you can see what happened when the magma poured into the volcano. Under the volcano and inside it, the magma is coming in under pressure, and that pressure is causing rocks to come apart, rocks to fracture, causing volcanic uplift in the volcano. This is over an hour. This is over an hour of heavy-duty magma coming into this magma chamber. You can see the vertical lines here coming out of the magma. This is indicative of rock fracturing by the magma inside the volcano. Rock fracturing. It's called earth movement. Earth movement, earthquakes. That's what happened last night, early this morning at Mount Rainier. You can plainly see it. Okay, let's go into the rest of the morning here. Okay, you can see it. What time did that earthquake hit off of Vancouver Island? 9:30 a.m. Over here at 9:30 a.m. it doesn't show a darn thing. Not one even little tiny speck of a 6.4 earthquake. So did all this magma just appear, or was this written in by the agency to make us think that this came in? I think that part is real. I think that part is very real. But the rest of this, I hold it and hold my thumb over it and say it stinks, because it's not showing real world. And this information here near the bottom, this is 15:45 this afternoon. 3:45 this afternoon. Did this earthquake really happen? These are tremors here. You can see the line down here. The thicker line. that would indicate a lot of magma coming into the magma chamber. And it continued for another line down here on the left below that. Okay? So over on the right, it started on the lighter blue line on the right. It continued on the darker blue line for another 30 minutes. Then it continued for another 3 minutes after that. So this earthquake happened, this seismic energy happened for about 45 minutes. 40 or 45 minutes. Did it really happen, or did they make this up? We have another magma churn signal here. It's also 7 lines high, and off to the right we have steam signatures. Steam being released from the magma at the volcano. Not surprising, because Mount St. Helens is steaming. Okay? But it's not showing the Vancouver earthquake. And yet the Vancouver earthquake, I showed you 3 different seismograms. One from Oregon, one from Idaho, and one from Montana. Is it correct to have a seismogram here in Washington State that's really close to Vancouver Island that would definitely have to record what happened over there off of Vancouver Island today? But it's not there. It's non-existent. Okay? You understand what I'm saying? Does everybody get it? Nadine Susie is asking where in Idaho. It was Haley, Idaho. Hailey, Haley, Idaho. That's where the seismograph is. Okay? Anyway, guys, you can see what I'm saying. Is what USGS and Pacific Northwest Seismic Network saying to us, is it real or is it Memorex? It's definitely not real, and it's not Memorex. They fake it. They fake it. Mount St. Helens didn't catch it. Most of the Mount Rainier seismograms didn't catch it either. Okay? It's sad. It's horribly sad. Now, something else that I want to show you. Okay? This matters. This really matters. This is what they call the slow slip. This is what they call the slow slip, ladies and gentlemen. All of these epicenters that you're seeing on the southern end of Vancouver Island and the northern end of Washington, the northwest end of Washington. This is called the slow slip. Okay? The slow slip. There are over 432 epicenters here. Over 432 epicenters. I showed this to a colleague of mine who lives in Texas that used to live in Umpqua, Washington. Or Umpqua, Oregon, I'm sorry, not Washington. Umpqua, Oregon. She was amazed by what we're showing you. This comes from the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network. Look at all these epicenters here on the southern end of Vancouver Island, stretching over and through the Strait of Juan de Fuca, through Washington here. Okay? What's this showing? These are tremors, ladies and gentlemen. Tremors and microquakes here. What does this indicate? Why do we have tremors and microquakes? Okay? When we see swarms, what does that indicate? More earthquakes are going to happen, right? Absolutely. Look where the rest of these tremors and microquakes are. Okay? Let me enlarge this for you. I want you to see this too. Where are these microquakes and tremors coming from? Okay, Roseburg. Roseburg, Oregon is this one that's just north of Medford. Okay, look at that. That's Roseburg, Oregon. Okay, we're getting a lot of tremor activity there. I wonder why. Where's the other epicenters here? This is just barely north and west of Medford, Oregon. This is typical, guys. This is very typical of the slow slip. The slow slip is evidence that a stronger earthquake is coming. Okay, that's what that is. Okay, it's all part of the Cascadia influence. All part of the Cascadia influence. Okay, I wanted to make sure that you'd understand and see this tonight. We don't often talk about it. I've tried showing you seismograms here in the past, showing you what is actually going on. I've told you about the slow slip before. I've also told you about all the tremors and microquakes that are hitting here that USGS and Pacific Northwest Seismic Network is saying. But guess what? They are not being honest. If I were to tell you that I could find about 500 more tremors and microquakes in other places here, would you be surprised? Would anybody here be surprised for me to tell you that there's about 500 more tremors and earthquakes all over this same area? Okay? Now Lisa Spencer is saying everybody to watch Catalina Island and San Diego and the Cocos Plate. Why did she say that? I wonder why she said that. I know why. What have I been telling you about Los Angeles? What have I been telling you about San Diego? What have I been telling you about those earthquakes that have hit down in Central America around the Cocos Plate? Lately, we've had a bunch of 5s and 4s going through that area. The Cocos Plate is about to come apart. The Cocos Plate is about to come apart down there. It shows it just off the western shore of Central America. It's going to come apart. And when it comes apart, guys, what happens up north? What happens in southern Mexico? Boom. Boom. I'm telling you guys, it's happening. It's happening. As I told you earlier this week and last week, I told you to expect a large earthquake to hit, and I'm saying anywhere from a 5.5 to a 7.0 to hit in Southern California, maybe in 2 or 3 different places. It's going to happen, guys. Last night, I showed you what's happening off the coast, didn't I? I showed you the islands just off the coast, didn't I? I showed you the seismic energy that's building up off the coast of Los Angeles. Guys, it's happening. I've shown you the seismograms all over, literally all over Los Angeles. All over Los Angeles. Have you paid attention? I hope you are. Lisa Spencer's putting out the word here. She's right. Things are happening, guys. If you live in Southern California, Los Angeles, or San Diego, or let me take this a step further, or if you live out in the Imperial Valley, you should be very concerned. You should be very, very concerned if you live out in the Imperial Valley. Why? Because the last time we had a 7.0 earthquake, it was just south of the Mexican border. South of the United States-Mexican border, in Guadalupe, Victoria, Mexico. It was a 7.1 earthquake. It may have even been larger than that. It was felt all the way over into Arizona. It was felt all the way over into San Diego and north into Los Angeles. Okay? Since then, we had a 7.1 magnitude earthquake that hit in southeastern Mexico. Okay? Oaxaca, Mexico. A 7.1 earthquake. And that was just 2.5 years ago. I told you on that day that it happened. Southern California would be next. 24 hours later, we had a 7.1 earthquake in Big Pine, California, just north of Ridgecrest. It's coming, guys. I am telling you, it's coming. You need to understand what's going on. This seismogram right here comes from Imperial, the town of Imperial in Imperial Valley, south of the Salton Sea. Look what you're seeing here. This is just prior to 6 p.m. yesterday evening when we were on the air. Look what we're showing you. This is just before 6 p.m. West or Pacific time. Look what we're showing you, guys. Look at the earthquakes here. This is serious. This is serious. Some of these earthquakes are 3.0. Some of them are 2.8, 2.9, 2.5. Some of them are 2.0. Just minor earthquakes. But those that are 2.9, 3.0, guys, and there are a few of them here on this seismogram, you need to be very concerned. This is Southern California. This is south of the Salton Sea. Okay? Let me show you some more. Can I show you some more? I know I can. Let's go down to Holtville. Holtville is about 20 miles north of the Mexican border. Look at Holtville. This is the Salton Sea Desert Research Station. The Salton Sea Desert Research Station. Okay, this is increased seismicity there. Yes, we see a lot of tremors down in Holtville. I pretty much show you this same seismogram every week. Look what we're showing you now. This is increased seismicity. More tremors and larger tremors here. More tremors and larger tremors here in Holtville at the Desert Research Station. Let me show you Westmoreland. This is Westmoreland. This is north of Imperial, California. Westmoreland. It's not showing you as many earthquakes here, is it? But it's showing you tremors here. It's showing you tremors here in Westmoreland. This is on the southeast side of the Salton Sea. It's just south of the Salton Sea, and it's toward the east side. Okay, this is a town of about 10,000 people. Westmoreland, California. Okay? Now, I want to show you something else. Let's go over to the eastern side of the Salton Sea. Remember me telling you about Bombay Beach? Look what we have to show you today. Look at these earthquakes over on the southeastern side of Bombay Beach. This is where the San Andreas Fault starts to go underneath the Salton Sea. This is in that same location. So the earthquakes you're seeing here are directly indicative of the San Andreas Fault. You can see that. Look at the long duration earthquakes here. They start off as tremors, they become 2.0, 2.4, 2.5 earthquakes on this blue line on the left. This upper one in the black here, that's different. It starts off as tremors, goes up to 2.5 earthquakes, and then it goes up to 2.9 earthquakes. That seismic event lasted a minute and a half. If you include the tremors beforehand, all of a sudden this particular seismic event is over 3 minutes long. The main part of the shaking lasted about 45 seconds. This blue one on the left-hand side, folks, guess what? Guess how many minutes it was? From start to finish with the tremors. Okay? Let's take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes. 6 minutes for that quake. And didn't get over 2.4, 2.5. Look at these other quakes. Look at this one on the green on the right-hand side. The top and the bottom have been shaved off. So this was a much larger earthquake than what they're showing. This was at least a 2 or 3.0. 3.0 small quake. It's probably closer to a 4. A 4.0 moderate quake. Seismicity's building, ladies and gentlemen. Seismicity's building. The number of seismic events and the strength of the seismic events are showing here. And they are not being honest with us. They're cutting the top and the bottom of the events off. You can plainly see it. This is down here in the Imperial County, Southern California, east of San Diego. Folks are hiding information in San Diego as well. I checked out the seismograph that's hiding over at the but the San Diego Gas and Electric just north of Mission Valley. It's just showing light tremors, that's it. Light tremors in San Diego. But out here in the Imperial Valley, you're seeing full-blown earthquakes. Full-blown earthquakes. Let me blow your mind with something else here. Look at this. Folks, this is Calipatria. This is the town of Calipatria. This is just on the southern side, the southeast southern side of the Salton Sea. Let me show you the number of earthquakes and tremors that happened this morning. Okay? Actually, it starts off yesterday afternoon at 2 p.m. Look at the tremors and look at the earthquakes here. These longer red lines, the red lines are instituted by the computer itself to get the seismologist's attention, saying, hey, look at this. This is important. These are 2.2, 2.3 earthquakes here in red here. Off to the left, there's a simple red line there. That one is about a 1.6, 1.7 tremor. But you can see these others. The seismicity is building here. Okay? Look what happens as we go through the evening. 9 o'clock, 2100 hours. You see 2045, then the line after that is 2100, that's 9 p.m. The line after that, 2115, that's 9:15. You can see what happens. I believe they turn the signal down. You hardly see anything going on. Look above it. You get all these seismic events happening, and then they disappear. They disappear. Then all of a sudden, bright and early this morning, just before 2 a.m. this morning, these tremors start to come out of the woodwork here. Look what happens with these tremors and earthquakes then. Look at what happens, guys. They're all over the map here. They're all over the map. Yes, the biggest things we're seeing here are 2.0, 2.4, 2.5 earthquakes. But there's a lot of tremors. There's over 180. Let me repeat that for you. There's over 180 seismic events on this seismogram. I counted them. I went through every darn one of them. Over 180 seismic events that came up on the Calipatria seismogram. They can't deny it. They don't put any of this on the USGS map, or very little most of the time. They don't put any of it. If they put up anything, it's like a 1.5 tremor or something like that. But look at what's actually going on. Okay? On the USGS map tonight, they say there's 245 earthquakes worldwide. What have I shown you here? There's 180. There's over 180 tremors and earthquakes right here. Over 180 seismic events right here in Imperial County, California. That's not including the other seismic events that are showing on the other seismograms. Okay? They're not showing you the earthquakes that happened today at Mount Rainier, or Mount St. Helens, or Mount Hood, or Crater Lake. I didn't get to show you Crater Lake because I'm running out of time here. But folks, this is important. This is very, very important. If you live in Southern California, you need to be really extra prepared. There's going to be an earthquake hit in Southern California. I'm telling you. I'm promising you that you need to be extra prepared. Your day is coming. Your day is coming. I'm promising you what's going to happen. I'm showing you the evidence of what we're talking about. You need to be prepared, and you need to be prepared right now. Do you have water? Do you have water stored? Any kind of water. Stored. Extra, not coming out of the faucet. Do you have any food in your home? Do you have more food? Do you have enough food to last you 2 weeks? Or 2 months? Or longer? If not, you need to get it. You need to get it, and you need to get it now. Do you have blankets and sleeping bags? Do you have a way to cook when you're not in your home at your stove? The electricity is going to be cut off. Do you know that? You should. We've been talking about it. You need to have everything necessary to last you some time. Now, folks, things are about to happen all over this nation and all over the world. USGS is not saying anything about earthquakes around the globe. They're showing one earthquake in Turkey when there's over 150 earthquakes in Turkey today. Why? Because we had a 9.0, 10.0 earthquake there over a month and a half ago. That's going to happen in Southern California. That's going to happen again up in Cascadia, off the coast of Washington. I'm promising you what is going to happen. I'm proving it. Okay? Rob says he has family, and I know he does. He and I have talked about it. He has family in Southern California. And he's been warning them, they don't even believe their own father. Just like my kids don't believe me. They're going to be taught a rough lesson very soon. They're going to be taught a very rough lesson very soon. Okay? Now, folks, I'm promising you, and I'm asking you to deliver for yourselves. I've shown you what I've shown you, and there's a reason for it. I want you to be prepared. I want you to be prepared. Now, in closing, I've shown you a lot of information tonight. I want you to take and show this information and share it widely. Share it worldwide. Let it go viral. Let it go viral. This is very important. Okay? Check your subscriptions. Make sure you're still subscribed to this channel. YouTube consistently unsubscribes people. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe to this channel. I know there are probably 400 people that are watching this tonight, and you folks are not subscribed. You need to subscribe to this channel, and when you do, click on the bell icon. There'll be a bell in a circle. Click on that. When you click on that, there will be a drop-down menu of 3 items come up. Click on the word ALL. That should get you notified when we come on the air. But be advised, part of the time, a good majority of the time, you won't get notified. But be advised, we do come on the air sometime between 6 and 7 p.m. Monday through Friday. Sometimes a little later, but most of the time right between 6 and 7 p.m. We do come on the air sometimes during emergencies. We've been on the air talking about hurricanes. We've been on the air talking about floods. We've been on the air talking about fires and explosions. We've been on the air talking about shootings. I will go on the air to talk about emergencies and even earthquakes when they happen. I've done that. So be advised, it's not just during our regular time. When there's an emergency to talk about, I'm going to get the information out as soon as I have it. Okay? If that earthquake had hit Vancouver Island, it was off the coast, the people on the coast may have felt some shaking, but not 6.2 or 6.4 shaking. It was off the coast. 3 years ago, one of my friends and I were talking on the phone when the 7.0 earthquakes happened off the northwest coast of Vancouver Island. It was Christmas Eve 3 years ago. 3 7.0 magnitude earthquakes hit off the coast. We thought that Cascadia was about to happen, and we prayed and prayed and prayed furiously, asking the Lord to delay the Cascadia megathrust earthquake from happening, to not let it happen on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. And that prayer was answered. There were no more 7.0 earthquakes. There were a lot of tremors off the coast there, but no 7.0s. 3 7.0s, guys. That's big time. 3 major earthquakes within minutes of each other. That's big time. It's coming again, guys. And this time it's going to be a lot worse, a lot bigger. Now, I want to share a scripture with you before I leave tonight, before we leave. This scripture means a lot to me. This scripture comes from 2 Peter chapter 2, starting in verse 4. For if God spared not the angels that sinned, but cast them down to hell, and delivered them into chains of darkness, to be reserved until judgment, and spared not the old world, but saved Noah, the 8th person, a preacher of righteousness, bringing in the flood upon the world of the ungodly, and turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah into ashes, condemn them with an overthrow, making them an ensemble unto those that after should live ungodly. That's what the Lord is about to do again. But in this case, he already promised that the earth would not be destroyed by water. He promised us the earth would not be destroyed by water. It will be destroyed by flames this time. It'll be destroyed by flames. Folks, it's my testimony that I know God lives. Jesus Christ lives. They hear and answer our prayers. But folks, this world has gotten very, very bad. And we're about to pay that price. We have to live in the world, but we don't have to live of the world. A lot of things are about to happen, and it's all going to blow up in our faces. Money and everything else. Folks, please take care of yourselves. Promise me that you are going to go out and make sure that you are prepared for whatever happens, including writing yourself a preparedness plan. Tomorrow night I'm going to talk about emergency plans and what you need to write down. I want you to come to this program ready. Ask questions of me tomorrow night. It's called Emergency Preparedness Planning. We're going to talk about your emergency plan, what you are going to do and what you need to do when an emergency happens. And it's not if, it's when. I hope you have a great night and a better tomorrow. Please know that I love you. Please know that I love you and I care. Please hit the thumbs up button on your way out. The thumbs up button, as well as the minutes, the hours that you watch this program and others. Those time period that you watch this program, not minutes but hours, means the world to this program. The longer you watch the program, the better chance of us being seen by other people here on YouTube. The more thumbs up, the more people we're going to be seen on YouTube. We need to get this emergency message out to everybody. So please, folks, watch the program and plan to stay throughout the program. Otherwise, you're going to miss the entire message of the evening. That's one. Hit the thumbs up button. That's important. That's very important. Go ahead and talk in chat. Talk in chat and talk about what we're talking about. I want everybody to share what they have, or their knowledge and everything else. Don't tell the world exactly what you have stored or what you have prepared. On the other hand, you should share that you are putting together your preparedness plan. You're putting, or you have already written your plan, and you are putting together your food storage, and you have survival food, and you have blankets and jackets and coats and shoes for any season. Okay? I want to hear stuff like that. I want to hear that you have a first aid kit. I want you to hear that you have prepared. That's important. You people in Southern California, you're about to get slammed big time. Los Angeles is going to look like trash. San Diego, the same thing. My friends in San Diego, I'm telling you, you need, and then I've heard warnings after warning after warning. On Paul Begley's show the other day, on the 28th, he put out a warning. He put out a warning. One of his guests put out a warning for San Diego and the Cocos Plate. This is serious. We've talked about it. They've talked about it now. We've been talking about it for quite a while. I've shown you the evidence of what's happening. Mike from around the world talked about it. I warned you, then there was somebody else I found on the internet today. They warned about it. It's about to happen. Take care of yourselves. Know what's going on. Pay attention to this channel. We're not going to lead you wrong. I'm a follower of Jesus Christ. I'm led and guided to show you what's going on. I'm led and guided to show you what's going on. I want you to be prepared. I love you and I care. Guys, if anything else happens tonight that you need to know about, I will be coming back on the air to tell you about it as soon as the information becomes available. I hope you have a good night and a better tomorrow. We'll be back on the air at least tomorrow evening at about 6 p.m. to talk about emergency preparedness. If there's anything else going on, I'll tell you about it then, or before if it's serious enough. But folks, I will be back. I promise you I will be back. I ask the Lord to bless you. God be with you till we meet again. We will see you around the corner. Good night, everybody. Thank you, mods. Love you all. Good night.